Howdy doody. Welcome back to the ranch. My name is Michael. This is my wife.
This is my wife.
Today, we're going to be working on a Holley carburetor, and it is for a secret project that you don't know about yet, but we're going to be getting a car running that is super secret, and you've never seen it before. It's definitely not that one in the background.
Any hooser.
Let's get started on rebuilding this so we can get that car running. The deal here with my wife, this is her car, soon to be her car. We'll take you more on a backstory with it in a future episode where we get this thing running. For now, this is the carburetor off of that vehicle, and we are going to be limping through a rebuild with it because I've never rebuilt a Holley carburetor before. They are very common in plenty of hot rods from this era. Unfortunately, I have never had the privilege of seeing one in person before. Well, on one of my cars. So we've got a rebuild kit, we've got carb clean, and we've got some wrenches, so we're going to tear it open. First, for my wife's sake, and for any of you who don't know how carburetors work, this is a very simple version of a carburetor. This is off of a little International Cub Cadet. Basically, in very simple terms, what happens with carburetors, how they work. If you know all this, you can go ahead and skip ahead. If you don't, stick around. Your fuel comes from your tank and comes into the carb and falls into the bowl here. From there, what happens is, ow, that hurt. What happens is, as your car is running or your engine is turning, it's creating vacuum through here. So as you open up your throttle, intake comes through, it creates vacuum and sucks the fuel up from the bowl into this chamber. And from there, that flows through back to where your pistons are, your spark plugs fire, and the combination of compression, spark, and fuel fires, and that's what makes your engine run. So, simple. As you get up to carburetors like this, it's a little more complex, but in essence, it's all the same. So, with this specific carburetor, you have two sets of floats and bowls on the side, which suck into your chambers, which there are 4 barrels in this carburetor rather than 1 barrel in something simple like this. So this is just a scarier version of this, but if you are going to be rebuilding a carburetor by yourself and you're relatively new to the process, don't be scared. It's not that hard. It's really just more pieces than this, but in essence, it's simple. So you take it apart, screw by screw, bolt by bolt. You just pay attention to how you're taking it apart. You match up your parts with your new kits, and you're just cleaning it and putting it back together. It's fun. It's like a puzzle, right? Right. So let's start the teardown on this thing. Like I said, I've never worked on one before, so we're all going to be learning together, and it's going to be a good time.
We're going to be taking apart a carburetor. And we're going to clean it. And we're going to put new gaskets on it. And then it will be happy.
Alright, so we're going to start with the main bowl, which is not that one that I'm pointing to, it's this one. Would you like to put your gloves on? Because you're going to be getting put to work here.
Do you know why it's the main bowl?
Tell them, why is it the main bowl?
It's the main bowl because if you see this thing right here, this is where the little gas pump gets connected to. And then the gassy gas stays in here.
This has obviously been opened before because the screws are pretty gummed up. So we need to be very careful because everything is very soft, so it's easy to damage it. And these screws might be a little stuck. So put a screwdriver in there and turn lefty-loosey. So see all the powdery stuff?
Yeah.
That's all like the dried up fuel and ethanol from modern day fuel. Just kind of sitting around and corroding, going bad, and that's what gums up your carburetor.
Imagine your carburetor just chewing gum.
Yeah, imagine your carburetor just chewing gum. That's exactly what happens. All right, ready? Might be a little stuck, so we'll probably have to give it a whack. Oh, she's gummy. There we go. That is float number 1. So now you can see float is supposed to be raising and lowering this needle, but see how it's kind of sticky? This is where your fuel's coming in, dropping down, and as this raises up and is full of fuel, it closes that needle. And that's where your fuel's sitting, and you could tell, because the way it is,
You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
for years and years, the fuel's just been sitting here on this line and just gumming everything up. It's just chewing gum. So let's find a gasket that matches out of our kit full of gaskets. Okay, so we are in the middle of cleaning out the first bowl. And as you can see, there is focus. You could see these like little stringy things. This is plumber's tape. Not good. If it's gonna be tough to see, but maybe I could take a picture of it. You could see the tape falling apart where the fuel is supposed to go. So obviously not good. So if we take this out, this is what happens when fuel touches plumber's tape. It just falls apart. It gets all sticky and icky, and then that goes through your carburetor and gums it up. And obviously, as we have talked already, having your carburetor chew gum is not a good thing. So you need to use the proper thread sealant, which is not this, but it's all I have. So we're going to do this instead of this. I think this is probably a little bit better than this. If it starts to leak, this is a pretty easy fitting to get to, and I can actually get the proper fuel resistant thread sealant and put it on there. But we're going to keep cleaning here, and we will check in when this is all done and put back together so we can move on. There you have it. All clean. That needle's working. All put back together. First piece is done. Woo! Now, we got to get this plate off. This holds the jets. Jet. Not sure what the rest is. But we got to clean up all this gasket material. But first we have to pry this thing off of here, which these have been really sticky. But I'm pretty certain from this point it just pries off. All right, really, really sticky parts, which just lets you know how long this thing's been sitting. So get a little heat in there. You don't want to get crazy. Just gonna warm it up, and then hopefully we can tap it off from there. The good news is gaskets and O-rings we're replacing. I'm not sure where all of them are at this point, but we're just replacing them, so it's not a huge deal because those will get a little bit burnt. Alright, let's see where we're at with that. Got it. And I don't have gloves, so you grab that. You got it. Keep going. Keep going. Fold off. Woo! Show the camera.
Wale.
Show the people. Wale.
Ow, mother beep.
She hit her elbow on the torch. Don't file a workers' comp claim on me. All right, so we got to get this gasket off.
I want to take it off.
This is where all the magic's happening. What is that magic, you ask? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. This is what it looks like on the inside of this. All we're going to be doing with this one, there's not much to it except for orifices and raceways and such. So we're just going to clean it all up. There's one piece that we got to replace on that, and that's sitting right here. And we'll get back to you here in a minute. All right, next up are these jets. So we're gonna take these out. Pretty loose as well, and these look like they just bottom out. One jet.
One,
Two.
two,
So jets are just little orifices or holes that control how much fuel is flowing through. These are a 62, and you do want to make sure that those match up, and they do. Oh, don't hate me for this. Yeah. Easy enough. Have a replacement for that. And it looks different, which is never a good sign. I'm not sure about all that. Does it even thread in? It does. I'm going to trust the kit here, even though I don't want to. This is how you properly clean. Not really. The internet's gonna hate me for this. I'm gouging the living crap out of this thing, but I just don't have a better way of getting the gasket material off. I don't know. If you know a better way of doing this, let me know, but I've always been stuck with screwdrivers, and you just gouge the living heckety-hoo out of the pieces you're working on. I've never really had any issues doing it this way, but I just hate to see all the marks from, I don't know. Let me know if you do a different way, you know, especially with these gaskets that have been on for years and years and years. It just, you know, they're on here. They're not coming off. Whoa, almost lost a jet. Benny and the Jets. Benny. Benny and the Jets. Jets. Remember how I was saying the jets that we just took out of here, wherever, here, they were just all the way set down. These jets, these Bennies and the Jets are set to a certain setting. Thank you. So what you want to do here is count how many turns it takes to put them in to seat them, and then you could take them out and just remember. I think a typical setting for these is 1.5 turns out, but we're going to see what they're set to. So count them out. One. 1/2 turn. 1. That's all she wrote. So those were 1. That one was 1 out. This one, 1/2, 1, 1/2 ish. 1.5 on that one. I'm gonna say that we're just gonna reset it back to normal and just do 1.5 on both and see where that lands us. But now we could take them out. So here's your jet. There's your dog.
Lady works on a carburetor. My dog did what?
My dog did. I believe we got new jets with the kit, which is surprising. I don't know if you'd necessarily call those jets. Needles? Needle jets? I don't know. Don't know what they're called. Are there any little gaskets in here? Yeah. Definitely a gasket. All right, I'm going to continue cleaning this up, and we'll get it back together here. Okay, so the kit comes with new jets for these, but they're not brass. Gloves literally take up the whole frame. There's the new ones. These are the originals. If you just hold them and press, it'll focus. Anyway, get out of the camera. Those are the new ones. These are the originals. The originals are brass. The new ones, they look kind of thickick, little thick boys. The new one just kind of seems like thicker. Don't know how I'm feeling about it. It seems cheap to me. It just does. Sorry, kit. I don't know who made it. Then it looks like looks like these O-rings seat down in here, so. Yep.
Not the balloon.
Our neighbors are having a party for their 2-year-old daughter.
She's very cute.
Yes, she is. Doesn't seem right at all. It was like a cork gasket that was in there before. Who made this kit?
What you guys don't know is if Michael can't find this, we will go get wings.
You're not getting out of this that easy.
And maybe I sabotaged the kit. I made the kit.
Okay, so I think with these, and I'm an idiot, I keep calling these the wrong thing. Mixture screws. It's supposed to be a gasket that, like the one that I took out of there was cork and it was thick. I have these little O-rings, and I think that's the only alternative that I see in this kit, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but we're gonna run with it. It just doesn't feel right to me, but what do I know? Yep, that's seated, so go ahead and go 1.5 turns out from there. 1/2, 1, 1/2. All right. Now we've got this valve, which takes a gasket. Stop. Yeah, like those little cat videos of them like sinking their teeth.
And then they go.
All right, this is together. This needs to be cleaned out, but we're not going to do that yet. I am going to jump over to the other side and clean this part. We're just going to time lapse that because it should just be a simpler version of the other side. And then we'll move on to choke, move on to the rest of it, get it back together, and then slap her on the rig. Sounds like a plan? Sounds like a plan.
Cut.
I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. But you could understand that I was only trying to do the best I can. When you came along, we were so happy, baby. But you could understand that I was only trying to do the best I can. When you came along, we were so happy, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. I tried so hard to really love you, baby. But you could understand that I was only trying to do the best I can. When you came along, we were so happy, baby. But you could understand that I was only trying to do the best I can. When you came along, we were so happy, baby. But you could understand that I was only trying to do the best I can. When you came along, we were so happy.
Okay, next up is the electric choke. Gonna have to take this off. I'm gonna try my best to kind of keep this all together. I don't really see any reason in like taking these off the body. I'm just gonna clean up the internals. So, screwdriver, overjobber.
I never went to oval jobber.
All right, so there's that.
It says that way.
That's for adjustment. So you can adjust it by loosening that up and then turning this, and that turns this. Don't ask me how it works because I don't know. Try not to rip it. Yep, that's good. And we're gonna put this right back together after we clean it out. It's just a little bit dirty. See that? That's a choke. It restricts airflow up here. And
That's what choking means.
electric chokes somehow work by temperature gauge, I think, from your car is attached to, it's like wired into this. Don't ask me, I'm not certain. But it has something to do with heat, I believe, and it closes this and opens it as needed.
Don't they know that we're trying to film a YouTube video? It's honestly rude.
All right. Now this piece, there's a diaphragm that we replace, which is right here.
It's like a rose.
All right, we got to take the choke off. All right, be aware if you're going to be working on these, you got to do it the right way. Apparently, you can't just skip steps. All right, y'all, here's the deal. Party got rowdy. You would have been listening to lots of screaming and so on, we'll say. So we decided to stop and come back to this later. We were thinking about tomorrow, but here's the deal. Tomorrow, we want to be working on the car. We want to be getting this thing up and running. So we stopped, and now I'm running out of daylight, and I just need to get this thing done. So I'm going to wrap this up on my own, and tomorrow we're going to hit it hard working on the Mercury. That way we can get a video out of this thing running, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But hopefully we can get that thing running tomorrow. So I'm on my own for the night, and hopefully I can get this thing wrapped up by sundown, which is in 40 minutes. So all I have left to do at this point, we got to get all these screws off on the base, get this separated, and then I got to clean up the body and get it all back together, which the metering blocks are all back together on the floats, on the bowls. So I really just got to bolt everything back up after I get this cleaned. But I'm going to get moving. Y'all stay there, sit tight, and we'll get this thing wrapped up. That way, I know this isn't the most efficiently planned out and informative carburetor rebuild video. But the point of this is just so we can get that thing running. So stay tuned. Let me get to work on this, and I think I'm going to time lapse most of it. But let's get started by getting this base off. I already loosened up these screws. I'm just going to zip them out of here real quick and get this separated. Alright, at this point, there's a ton of gaskets to pick from here. We got to match up this one. So, take your time. Make sure you're getting the right one. It would have been really cool if I got the right one on the first try. This might be it. It might be it. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Lucky grab. That was like my, third guess? Second one I lined up. Yes. Did I shut off the stove? Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I'm almost positive I turned it off. I was doing dishes and I had a pan drying on the stove. Checking if I shut the gas off. I think I did. I think. To be honest, it's pretty gummy on the outside, but the inside isn't too bad, especially with this plate here. I think this will be quick. Looks like they were having some backfire in action. A little bit of fire that I was not making. Last piece to clean, just the main body. I do, however, need to get this squirter out of here. It sits right here. How about now? There you go. Right there.
Idiot!
Sometimes I lifted it up to show you, and I dropped it. I somehow, miraculously, found these two items that I dropped as I was tipping it over. I was thinking it was going to be more of like a needle and seat type deal, and I was wrong. There's a check ball and a little brass, I don't know what you would call this, it's like half a needle. Somehow I found both, so I'm going to count my blessings there and move on. Basically at this point I should be good to just clean this up. Lots of scrubbing and lots of time, so I better get moving. Sun's going down. I better get this thing together. Start these to make sure I'm on the right track. Oh, he's home free. He's home free.
This crowd has gone deadly silent. Cinderella story, out of nowhere. A former greenskeeper now about to become the Masters champion.
This thing's gonna fly together. 5 minutes, I'm gonna be done. Getting kind of tired though. It's been a long day. I'm excited for tomorrow. I really hope we get to get this car running. That'll be a really good feeling. I really love the feeling of hearing something run for the first time and you know it's been like the first time in forever. This specific car has been sitting since the 90s. I believe it was last registered the year I was born in 94, but we will go over all that tomorrow, which will be in the following video. Should be a good time. In the meantime, I gotta get this thing together, so let's get cooking here. I feel like I'm in a race against myself for my quickest time ever on a Holley rebuild. This has taken us all day due to circumstances that I cannot control, but that's the fun of it. I did enjoy the fact that I got to do most of it with my wife, though. I think that's pretty cool that we get to do that together, especially because she is not into cars per se by any means. It's more of like her trying to, or putting an effort into enjoying the things that I enjoy, which is super cool. Don't get me wrong, I do think she really likes this car, and this will be a lot of fun for us to work on together. But yeah, it's just cool that I'm married to the right person. We'll say that. Anyway, enough sappy stuff. We are coming to a close on this carb rebuild, and I am ecstatic about it. There you go. All in all, this thing is not that difficult, especially if you read some instructions or watch a YouTube video prior to doing it. Not a difficult carburetor to open up and rebuild. That is for sure. Now for me, I could have put some research into it. I could have put some time into it to make sure that I was doing it correctly, and I did really luck out with that check ball there. If I lost that, we would have been down and out. I would have had to order parts. So that was stupid, but I'm happy that it all went back together, and we can move on to the next steps in this project. But there you go, carburetor rebuild for a Holley 4160, very common carburetor. Again, this was my first go around with one, and yeah, I wouldn't say pleasantly surprised. I'd say right up my expectations. I think it was pretty simple to rebuild, and I have high hopes for this. I'm excited to get it on the car. We'll just say that. So with that, make sure you tune into the next video. We're going to be getting this Mercury Turnpike Cruiser up and running tomorrow. This video will be coming out prior to that, so stay tuned. It'll be up on the channel hopefully a week after this one. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for it. So I'm rambling at this point. Sun is nowhere to be seen. It's gone. I know, like I said, it wasn't the most informative of them all. At this point, I can't sit here and teach somebody how to rebuild something when I haven't done it myself. So I hope you enjoyed the follow along here on watching me struggle through it, and hopefully it shows you guys that you don't need to be a professional in order to work on something like this. So with that, if you enjoyed the video, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it, all that fun stuff. And next week, hopefully, you guys will be seeing this thing running. See you guys then.